Thanks for tuning in to Becoming Something, where we promise to keep the conversation honest and real for young adults in their 20s and 30s. Every moment we live is training for a future moment, and that's why we do this podcast, because we want you to be prepared for everything that life is going to throw at you. Our hope with this podcast is that it would help you become all that God desires you to be. So with that in mind, let's jump right in to this week's episode of Becoming Something.
What's up, podcast world? It's your boy JP in the podcast studio with Kathy Davidson.
Hello.
And Nate Hilgenkamp.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
He's not here.
Not Nate.
Nate had the nerve to leave us.
Guys.
For 6 weeks.
Nate no longer works here.
So we thought we would replace him.
This is how you find out.
Yeah,
no, we're with Trey Tucker. Nate still works here. I'm just kidding. We're with Trey Tucker because how? How did this happen? Tell them.
It's a wild thing. I wrote a book, and then I reached out to you to see if you wanted to talk about it, and then sure enough you did. So here I am in basically like less than a week's time.
See, people think it's impossible to get on this podcast, but all you have to do is
you're
DM
giving
me.
everyone false hope right
yeah,
now,
you
and
just
your
DM
DM's
me
gonna
and
get
we'll
lit up.
We'll throw you in on the
and-
podcast. No, don't do that because I won't see it. But I did see yours, and I was like, sure. I was interested because you're a therapist, and I honestly I enjoy having conversations with therapists, and then you kind of play in a unique space of like challenging the next generation of men, which I thought would fit with the podcast. So here we are.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
What problems do you see as you think about men right now?
The main thing I see is the big belief that's under the surface, and they don't even know it usually, but they believe that they're not good enough or just not blank enough.
Yeah.
And so that turns out one of two ways, what I call the Tate crowd or the safe crowd.
Yeah.
The Tate crowd thinks I can just outrun this insecurity by like achieving more.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
good.
then the safe crowd thinks I can just
What's the first crowd?
Tate like Andrew Tate.
Oh, I
yeah.
thought take.
What is that?
Well,
like they're taken.
Well, that too, yeah,
Oh,
because
the
it's
Tate
basically
crowd.
Tate.
achieve and hook up and use whatever
Yeah.
just for me. So they think that all that stuff is going to eventually fix the inside.
Yeah, they're trying to outrun that feeling, that
Yeah.
compulsion.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the Tate.
The Tate, the Andrew Tate crowd, but they may not necessarily follow him, but just that mindset of like hustle and get rich and
Do more.
get ripped, get rich, get laid is the mentality I see on that.
Get ripped, get rich, get laid, and
Get
put your
ripped.
phone
Is
on.
that what you said?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry. Get ripped, get rich, get laid is the Tate crowd. And
Yep.
the other crowd is what?
The safe crowd is just the guys that stay passive. If I just don't try, I won't fail, because if I fail, it confirms that feeling that I'm not
Dude,
enough.
you nailed that, like those two groups. I feel like I can see that so clearly.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. Those that are like trying to outrun it and just do more to like squelch that feeling down, and others who are like, I'm not even going to try because I don't want to confirm that feeling I already know is true.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's an accent. Where are you from?
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hear that one a mile
Chattanooga
away.
Lookouts, is that still a thing?
Yeah, it is. They just got a brand new stadium. It's all the rage right now.
When I was in high school, I had a Chattanooga Lookouts hat because I liked the hat, but I knew nothing
Is
about
this a
sports. I
team
still
of
know. I
something?
still clearly know nothing about sports. It's a minor league baseball
minor
team.
league baseball team,
Like a
and
farm team?
their logo was the first logo in all of sports to really
Yeah.
go goofy and just be about marketing.
Yeah.
So everybody else followed them. So you had the original. The
That's
OG.
right, the OG, and I'm a marketing guy. Have you been to Bolt Farm Treehouse?
I have not, but apparently a bunch of tourists come in. I don't think it's a locals thing.
Yeah, so Seth and Tori Bolt, they have an Airbnb. Monica and I went. It's incredible. It's near Chattanooga. It's like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Like the mountains, and I guess this is the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Smoky Mountains.
it's awesome. I love
I
it.
went to the Chattanooga Aquarium in college,
There you go.
and it was
Is there an
awesome.
aquarium there?
Yeah,
A
it's
huge
literally
aquarium.
amazing.
Yeah, a lot of
I
other
went there for-
cities.
It's like not near the ocean.
I don't know
always
why
think
I
I don't know
remember
why.
it
I guess
of
because
all
like
the things
Corpus,
I
I
did
think
in
of like
college,
aquariums
but
near ocean. But I guess
Right.
not.
No, this one's right next to a river, so
it's a pretty
kind of
place.
Is it like freshwater aquarium?
I don't know.
They have both. They have
Yeah.
sharks in there too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it like had
Yeah,
cool
sharks.
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
can dive with the sharks if you want.
Come
I
on, man.
totally did that.
Did
Okay.
you really?
No. Okay. Trey.
All right. So the Tate crowd and the safe crowd. It's the two issues you see with young men. So that's a word right there. What marks the safe crowd? If get ripped, get rich, get laid marks the Tate crowd.
Mm-hmm.
What marks the safe crowd?
Just stay under the radar. Just don't try. And like what I see a lot of that is it's either video games or just a guy that doesn't seem to have a real purpose or real drive. Like there was a guy a few months ago, I saw him at dinner one night, and I knew enough of his story to know like he had struggled with some substance issues and he wasn't doing well. And so I said in the conversation, it had probably been a year or two since I'd seen him, I said, "Hey brother, what's your purpose?" And he goes, "Just living." And I'm like, God, that's the safe crowd. Just do the routine, don't push any boundaries, and just see how far you can just live and exist.
Yeah. So what's the solution? Like, how are you helping these guys?
Yeah. First, I want to hear their story, because once you understand your story, then you can actually see what's next. Because a lot of times you can't go forward until you look back. Yeah. And that's a big problem, too, in the therapy world is like the therapy culture right now, I don't think is in a real healthy place, because the therapy culture promised us like insight and understanding in order to grow. But unfortunately, what it's turned into is insight and understanding in order to figure out who's to blame besides me.
Oh.
So when I work with somebody, guy or girl, I'm always pushing them to be like, okay, yes, you need to take care of yourself and you need to understand your story, and it has to be for something bigger than you, because so much of therapy just focuses on like, how am I doing? How am I feeling? Who in my life do I need to cut out to have more peace? And, you know, all that stuff. It just drives me crazy.
What are you thinking about these guys, like young adults that are like divorcing their parents? Not literally, but they're just like writing off their parents. Like, hey, we're not going to talk anymore. Like that's for the first time in history. I mean, this is so normalized, and I'm thinking, how did we get here? Yeah. And it had to be the victim mentality. Hey, I'm wounded. You hurt me. We're done. Like, never mind that they paid for your entire upbringing and whatnot. Right. But are you seeing this, or what are your thoughts on that?
I see it. Unfortunately, I'm seeing it more and more, and it's because of a lot of the short form video clips. The attention spans have gotten so brief now that nobody even wants to sit down and like watch a whole podcast episode. But they'll see these clips of somebody talking about how they went no contact with their parents, and this is both guys and girls too. It's not a gender thing, but it gives you this adrenaline rush in the moment to like cut somebody off, because you're like, yeah, I showed them, and kind of feels good. But then after a while, you're like, I keep cutting people off because they hurt me or they're not perfect. And there's some cases where you do need to cut somebody off, but it's such a rare occurrence. And so eventually you keep cutting and you keep cutting, and you end up with basically nobody. So not the path.
Yeah, I would just say it's not biblical. So if you're listening and you've gone no contact with your parents, like, I'm not saying go back to your abuser, but I would really clarify the abuse. And then I would think through, hey, what does a path of reconciliation look like? Because like when Jesus prayed for us, he prayed for unity. And so you're thinking through, you want to give someone a chance to change, right? And so, I mean, people who've done terrible things have become amazing people. And what happens is when we are the victim of the terrible things they've done, I want to be clear here, because there is real hurt, real trauma, real abuse. And I think when you take somebody who was sexually abused by their father, and so you say that's abuse, that is terrible. And then you take someone whose dad told them that their curfew was 8 p.m., which is really strict, right? And they're like, well, my dad was abusive. And you call both of those things abuse, it seems to me that you're diluting that first abuse when you call both of those things abuse. Like, those aren't even on the same category. Like, well, my dad argued a lot, and he would sometimes raise his voice, so he was verbally abusive. It's like, hey, when we call both of those abuse, that's really going to dilute the person who was sexually abused by their father, if we just say blanket statement. And so I think you want to peel back the layers and say, this was what the abuse was, and then think, okay, what would restoration, if possible, look like, and get other people speaking into that, because I think ultimately that is God's desire, is that we can restore relationships where possible. Sometimes not possible. I understand that, but where possible, we should work hard at that, and not blanket statement, call everything abuse today.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to talk to the guys, I think, today.
Yeah.
And so, ladies, here's your job. One thing I want you to do is begin to forward this to your male friends and say, hey, I want you to listen to this. I want you to hear this, because we're calling up a generation of men today to be better boyfriends, husbands, fathers, and really like men of God. And so, yeah, I would think like as you think through the Tate, what is it? The Tate
crowd, yeah.
The Tate crowd. Like God gave us that desire to do something bigger than ourselves, not just to play Grand Theft Auto 6, but like not just we're stealing cars via video game, but to be like, all right, what does it look like for me to take this energy that is now dormant and focus it in the right direction to change the world for the cause of Christ?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I found is the measure of a man is how much he's willing to sacrifice his life for something other than him. And achievements are great. Like, we got to achieve. All that stuff is awesome. It's just that a lot of times we think the achievement is the thing that's going to make us happy, but it's in giving whatever we achieve away. That's what's actually going to make us feel the way we want to feel. Like, that's what really sends somebody into my office in the first place, is they don't feel like they want to feel. And then the other thing I try to tell them is that, especially if they're in that achievement mode of just running and going after it, I'm like, all right, we think that we're going to be happy when we get whatever we're running to, but happiness is actually going to happen when we turn around and face what we've been running from. Because a lot of times we're running toward the thing that we think is going to make us happy, the money, the whatever, and then we're still trying to outrun that belief about ourselves with maybe those past events.
So why do you think this is like particularly so true for men, that you've got the Tates or the
Safe.
Yeah.
the Tates are the safe. Why is this particularly such a struggle for men? I totally agree with what you're seeing, but I'm curious y'all's thoughts there.
It's kind of a nature and a nurture thing. Like, our brains as guys, we're wired to be fixers, problem solvers, and so therefore we don't need to necessarily be checking in on our emotions so often. So we can take that to the extreme and just stay in that mode of achieving and never reflecting. And then also there's this belief in culture, like, if you show any weakness, then you're not a real man. And that's, thankfully, that's coming down. That's decreasing in popularity, but it's still there, and it's kind of that innate unspoken thing. Like, if I show any kind of hesitation or weakness, I'm just done.
Yeah. It's like way more a thing for girls, I would think, even still, to admit that they're emotional or to show emotions, and yet it's not a sign of weakness. But I feel like that's maybe the hurdle, is not even just guys being aware that they have these, or just trying to stuff them down, or then not knowing what to do when they realize they have these things. So I'm curious for you. We've got the guys listening. They're putting themselves in the categories, in the buckets, a Tate or a safe. What do they do next? Like, when they realize, hey, this is my issue. And would it be different depending on like which camp they're in, or what's, everyone needs to turn around and acknowledge their past, or where do we start?
Yeah, it starts two things. You need your team. Like in the book I wrote, I hate calling it like community or all the typical words, because it kind of gets washed out when you use so many common words. So I just say draft your team, and if you haven't drafted one yet, you got to figure out who you want it. But you look around and you're like, who can I tell this to? Because if you go through it alone, y'all know this, it's not going to get much progress. But if you tell somebody you trust, preferably somebody who's older, that's maybe been a few more steps down the road than you, that's step one. And then step two is you got to start getting comfortable with silence. Because until you can get comfortable with silence, like being still, then whatever you're outrunning or trying to outrun, you're not going to really know what it is, and you can't solve a problem that you're not really sure what it even is. And that, like, I know guys who are like, I have one guy that I love dearly, and for years he's been able to do all kinds of physical feats, like lift a bunch of weights and do grueling cardio, and he can do whatever physical challenge and discomfort. But if I asked him to sit in this room for 5 minutes by himself, he would go into a nervous breakdown, just because he's been outrunning for so long that all those thoughts that he's been afraid of, and maybe those emotions, they start coming up like a volcano when you just give them a little bit of time. And you can't actually grow until you face that stuff and go through it.
So your advice is for people to get comfortable with silence. What do they do, though? They sit down, they've got 5 minutes. Lots of thoughts are coming to their head, lots of thoughts that they don't want to face. Yeah. What do they do then?
Yeah, so I just tell them, like, just watch whatever's happening in your body as if you're, like, looking at it under a microscope, because it's going to fade. Like, you only got to do this for 5 minutes. This ain't the end of your life. And so if you can just sit with them for even, like, sets of 30 seconds at a time, then take a break, what you'll notice is those uncomfortable sensations or even those thoughts, they'll start to move around, they'll start to change. But if you let them just kind of just almost let the air out of a balloon, eventually it's less charged, and you can be like, oh, okay, like, here are the 2 or 3 thoughts that are kind of sifting through as the things I can take into a conversation with somebody else, because that's, again, what has to happen. It's got to be with people. Doesn't have to be with a therapist either.
What makes a therapist a good therapist?
Ooh, good question. Number one, they've got to be really good at building rapport. Like the research shows that you can use almost any technique and it can work as long as there's rapport. But if you don't have that good connection, it doesn't matter what technique you're going to use.
Yeah. And so as you think about like the Tate crowd and the safe crowd, is like toxic masculinity, is that a real thing? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? Like what are...
I mean, there's toxic behavior, but it's real simple. It's either, are you being selfish or are you being selfless?
Yes.
And you can tell a man he's being toxic because he's being
That's so
selfish.
I think that's so good because, like, okay, God made male and female in the beginning. He made them male and female, both reflecting attributes of God. And men, you know, are generally speaking stronger, right? And so God made them to use what God gave them to give to others. And and this is true of anybody. Women also, members of the church, members of the community, members of employment, of a business. It's like you take what you have and you steward it for the good of others. That is a fast path to joy, contentment, and a life well lived. Take what you have and use it for yourself. Like this clavicle guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this dude.
I do not know what you're
Okay,
talking
so
about.
he's a looks maxing influencer. You know what that is?
Looks maxing?
Looks maxing is, I mean, the dude like beats his face and he does all of these things to try to be the most attractive human.
Okay.
Okay.
Maximize
your looks. Yeah.
Got it.
So looks maxing. This isn't going to go well. You're watching an experiment with this guy. Yep. And if Jesus doesn't grab a hold of his heart, you're going to see one of the most depressed human beings. He's going to have the car and the condo. Mm-hmm. He's going to have the vacation home and the boat. And he is going to be suicidal, depressed. Listen, some of you are going to hate me because you're like, oh, man, don't speak that over him. I'm not speaking that over him. I'm saying I've read Ecclesiastes, okay? Mm-hmm. I've seen this experiment play out. You have Solomon, who's the richest man, the wisest man, the best-looking man with the most girls and the biggest house, and he dies utterly depressed because when you use what you have on you, it's like my favorite illustration of this is, have you ever been to Israel?
No.
Okay, so you have the Sea of Galilee. And then you have the river, the Jordan River, the Dead Sea. Okay, and the Dead Sea is, so you have this body of water up top, this body of water down here, and in the Sea of Galilee, because water's flowing out of it, like rain falls into it, water flows out of it. It is full of life. I mean, it has enough fish to feed that community. There's birds. There's everything's green. It's beautiful. And it runs down the river into the Dead Sea. That nothing leaves it. It just all flows in, nothing flows out. And because the mineral concentration there is so much, no fish can live there. There's no life there, and everything around it is dead. It's just desert and salt. There's no life. Yeah. And because it doesn't flow out, it just flows in. That is a picture of our lives. So good. Like as God gives us things, he gives us things to maximize them and use them for the good of others. If you just use them for you, and social media is a university. It's systematically training you to be a bigger, better, faster, richer, better looking you. To focus you. You are the key of the story. Listen, you're on the scene. You've got a cameo in this movie. You have this tiny little. You're in this movie for all of 5 seconds. Like the camera pans, and there you are. You're in the audience. It would be crazy for you to leave and tell everybody this movie's about me, right? Yeah. No, this movie is about Jesus, and you've got a cameo. You're 76 years. You're 86 years. It's 5 seconds on the screen, and it's like the way that I prove it to people. I'm like, tell me about your great-great-grandfather. Tell me anything about your great-great-grandfather. Like, tell me his favorite color. Tell me his favorite meal. Tell me what he did for a living. Listen, your great-great-grandfather, not your grandfather, not your great-grandfather, but your great-great-grandfather. Tell me his name. And I've been in stadiums of people, and not one person knows his name. I mean, every now and then there's somebody that, hey, I'm Johnny the Fourth, so his name was. I was like, but other than tell me his name, and most people don't know their great grandfather's name. He was alive 50 years ago.
Right.
What that means is 50 years after you're gone. 50 years after you died, 50 years after people came into a room, they carried you in a box. 6 people carried you in a box. They stood over you. They said some kinds of things. They sang some songs, and then they went and got Italian food. 50 years later, nobody even knows your name. Your closest family doesn't even know your name. So you got to use what you have to serve others. That's the only way that you will make an impact in eternity and any kind of lasting impact here on earth. Nobody likes, like the person who used what they had for themselves, they may have 6 million Instagram followers, but when they die, people are glad because everybody's competing with you. And you're lonely and miserable, and when you die, they are glad. That's sad, man.
Gosh.
It is.
Now depressed.
It reminds me that the talk of making yourself the center of the story instead of living for somebody else. It reminds me when I was a rookie therapist. I didn't know what I was doing, and one of my first clients was a guy, probably late 20s. He walks into my office and he is mad. I've never met him before, so I know I didn't do nothing yet.
Yeah.
But he's mad, and he proceeds to sit down, and he takes out his phone, and like he's a good-looking dude, so he's got that. He takes out his phone and he goes, "This is my wife." Slides over. "These are my kids. Like awesome-looking family. Everything looks happy in the picture." He goes, "I own my own business. I'm a multimillionaire." Pulls out car keys. He takes out, he goes, "These are keys to a Lamborghini." And then he reaches over to my table and he slams them down on the table. He goes, "Now, I have all this stuff. Now, why the blank am I not happy?" And he just sits and stares at me. So I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But it's the thing. He fell for the lie, that bait that's dangling in front of him. It's like, I get it. Like, I've chased that stuff too. It's really easy to fall for that, but it is just a lie, an empty promise.
Well, I feel like this connects with what you're saying for men who realize which camp they are. Get in silence, figure out the emotions, figure out the lie they're believing, what happened in their past. But to go forward, you have to find purpose. So I guess everyone's purpose is to use what they've been given to serve someone else, to say it plainly. And you can have that purpose as a fireman or as a counselor or as a teacher or X, Y, Z, right?
It's Ephesians 2:10, yeah. For we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which he's prepared in advance for us to do. So we are his masterpiece that he created to accomplish things that he ordained ahead of time for us to accomplish.
Right.
And so we're looking to what are those things. So you called the book Tough Enough.
Yeah.
Why, you wrote this book, Trey Tucker, Tough Enough. Hone your habits, cultivate purpose, and forge genuine strength. Why did you name it that?
First of all, I wanted it to be something that was intriguing and interesting. I didn't want it to be something that was like soft and therapist-y, because I'm about the opposite of a therapist as they can get. I came from the business world. I came from the sports world. So I wanted to write a book.
How'd you get into therapy?
Long story short, had a therapist in high school. Our high school counselor was so impactful on me, Jim Mankey, and I saw the impact that he made. And I always had in the back of my mind, like, there's meaning, there's purpose. And chase some other stuff first and realize, well, that's empty. I got to switch gears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you call it Tough Enough.
Yep, call it Tough Enough. And it's really, the idea is like every guy deserves to be fathered, and we just don't have enough really good actual fathers, and we definitely don't have enough father figures in culture right now. So I'm trying to make that book at least a step toward guys being fathered.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
father wound is real, man.
well, yeah, I'm like, I think a lot of people, what do you do when you're like, man, I need to be fathered? Is it read your book? Like, who can do that? What do they need to do?
Yeah, well, so first of all, just to tie it into what we were just talking about, finding your purpose, that's hard to do just on your own. So I love what you were saying. Like, I try to help guys realize, like, and I want to hear y'all's framework for this, because maybe I'm teaching it wrong, but I believe there's one overarching purpose, that is to spread Christ wherever we go. And then I call it maybe calling. I don't know if I'm using the right vocabulary, but like the way you accomplish your purpose. Like you're saying, you could be a fireman, you could be a businessman. Like the car that you drive to get to your purpose is what guys, they really can't figure that out without somebody who's older. And so I try to tell other guys, no matter how old they are, like, mentor somebody else, even if they're like 2 years younger than you. At least help them get through the next 2 years so they can figure it out.
I think girls just like naturally gravitate towards mentoring or like get wisdom from other people, even like close friendships, pouring their heart out. I mean, I had like 10 mentors in college, and even still, like, we were just talking about someone before the podcast started, like have so many like spiritual moms, women I look to and run things by. But I wonder if guys kind of struggle to know they need that or initiate it maybe. And even those like closer relationships with people even their own age, to know them well and be known.
Yeah, they innately know that they need it, but they don't have the language to put to that. Like they know there's something missing. A lot of them who don't have a great dad or a father figure, they're angry and they can't figure out why. And so a lot of times they just need some words to really describe that situation.
Yeah, there's a ministry I'm a part of called Better Man. It really like systematically helps you deal with the father wound, and you learn everybody has one. I mean, whether you even like people who had amazing dads, they're still so impacted by that relationship. And so like what's the hope that we would give guys? Like what do you want them to do? Like if they're listening, like you say, hey man, here's what I want you to do.
Yeah, I want you to achieve, and I want you to then use that achievement to make somebody else better, to help somebody else. Like with this book, I'm giving anything I make from the book away to organizations that help young men and to help end human trafficking, because that's an issue that weighs on my heart. So yeah, writing a book is awesome and it's fun and all that stuff. Getting to talk to y'all is great. And then I know if I don't actually like pass that along or let that water flow out of me, it's going to be empty. So I try to help guys figure out, achieve, do all your goals, figure out how to use those goals for something bigger.
Because you have a story around trafficking?
I do, yeah. That when I first learned what human trafficking was, it enraged me and it stuck with me. Like some things are just kind of fleeting and you just forget about them, but I couldn't get this out of my mind. So long story short, I went on an undercover raid to help break out girls who have been kidnapped into human trafficking. So
dude, tell me all about it.
Yeah. So it was a long process. I reached out to a bunch of organizations saying like, hey, use me. I don't care if I die. Like just put me in the situations that nobody else wants to go into, the dangerous ones. And it took a while because I didn't know who I could trust. And of course they're trying to vet me to see if they could trust me.
Who's this random guy emailing us?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So finally found one and we went. There's a team of 5 of us.
What was the organization?
Destiny Rescue.
Okay.
And it was a team of somebody as young as 18 and then somebody as old as 55, and just all dudes, all the wide range of ages. And we had that one mind of like, we're going to get these girls out of here. And we had to go into character mode. Like I don't have the greatest past when it comes to women, but it kind of, God used it in this advantage I was able to like kind of go back into that character and play this role. And you have to fit into these situations, because if you don't fit in, they're going to see that, okay, this guy or this group of guys.
Just to not leave a mystery, like when you say you don't have the greatest past when it comes to women, what do you mean by that?
It's basically hookups. That was my main thing I thought was going to fix all
like
these
before you were
insecurities.
following Christ, pursuing him. I got it.
Yep, exactly. Just trying to outrun the insecurities like we talked about. And so in these situations, in these bars, these girls, imagine like a Hooters, but the floor is above the restaurant bar level is where they unfortunately go do the sexual stuff. And so their job is to sell as much stuff as they can, whether it be alcohol, food, sex, whatever. And then if they don't hit that quota each day, then a lot of times they get beaten. And so we would go into these situations, and you have to be in character. If you break character, the bouncers are going to notice, and you'll probably get beat up pretty bad or disappear. So we went through some training and figured out, like, how do you talk to these girls in these situations? And the toughest part for me was literally, like, you have to straight up ask these girls, and they could be ages from like 15 to 35-ish, and you have to ask them straight up, like, how much for sex? And like, I couldn't get those words out of my mouth when I was first in the training. And it was amazing. 2 weeks later, it was flowing out of me like it was nothing. So it's a little scary what all you can kind of get used to in your mind. But we had a raid scheduled, and we had to practice our roles in a bunch of different settings. And I wanted to be like the tip of the spear, because I'm an adrenaline junkie. Like, I'm like, give me the most risk. So I wanted to be the guy that was kind of you have to buy the girl. You have to get the room set up in a way that the SWAT team can see that the room was set up for sex. And if something goes wrong, like you're wearing secret video recording devices, and they said, if you got to make sure those things are working, because if they're not, and then she accuses you of doing something to her physically, it is your word against hers. And the situation over in those countries, this is Southeast Asia, it is you're guilty until proven innocent. So they said, if your camera breaks and she accuses you, you're probably cooked. And I thought, oh boy, I thought I knew how to deal with anxiety then, but my anxiety was through the roof. And I'll tell you whatever details you want, but the end of the story is I got the room set up the way they needed it, and then I texted the go message to the SWAT team, and the plan was for them to show up 5 minutes later. Well, they sent a text saying, we're still 30 minutes behind. So I'm in this hotel room with this girl who is in a not decently clothed situation, and I'm like, I'm cooked. I'm done. Like, what? So I unleashed a tirade of not so nice words to the SWAT team for running late, and they finally showed up 30 minutes later after I'm having to make small talk.
Like a Southeast Asia SWAT team?
Yeah, and that's the other problem is a lot of the governments are so corrupt that we didn't know who we could trust, like which branch of the government, but we found one particular team that we could trust.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, the raid was successful.
Okay, so what happened? So 30 minutes?
Yeah, the SWAT team shows up.
So you're just buying time?
You're
like, hold on, no, hey, I don't want to do this yet.
I got to go to the bathroom.
I'm nervous. You know, you're like trying to figure it out.
And she's looking at me like, what are we waiting on here, bro?
Yeah.
So
yeah, time is money.
Exactly. So I'm making small talk through Google Translate, passing her the phone back and forth. And so finally the team shows up and I get out of there, and they knew who I was, but I think a couple of the team members didn't know who I was, and one of them grabbed me like I was the bad guy, and I looked at him with the most like rage in my eyes. He got the picture like, okay, this is actually part of the team. So he let me go, and I've never been more happy to see my team than that moment right there. So we got the heck out of there, and 20 girls got rescued.
Wow.
5 like bar owners and pimps went to jail for at least 20 years. The bar got shut down.
Wow.
And by the way, the pimps over there are women. They call them mama sans.
Wow. Did you have to go to court?
I did not. They had all the evidence they needed.
Wow.
So yeah, we got out of there. And they told me don't come back to this country for another year.
Wow.
Because my face was on all the video cameras at that point.
Can you say what country it was?
I'm not able to say
Okay,
the
I
country.
gotcha. Yeah,
That is crazy.
That is wild, man. But and it kind of plays into your message where it's like, man, live your life, guys. Like, find a problem that you want to solve or extinguish, like do away with, and like give your life to solving that problem. And it's going to be born out of your story. Like if you were a porn addict, it's like, I mean, I want to do away with porn. Like I want to help people find freedom from porn or whatever that is. If you were, materialistic, say, man, I want to create generosity engines. Whatever it was, like find the issue and like.
Well, it's like God gave you, or as a man, I don't know, you have this adrenaline junkie side to you, and probably before you knew Jesus, you could chase that on women and sex or achieving or all these like crazy stunts. And instead he used it to rescue women from trafficking. And it's like, maybe that's why God made you the way that he did. Yeah. And so a lot of us are misplacing those giftings or the things that God's given us to use for his good, for our own selfish purposes.
And it comes down to courage.
Redeem that. Yeah.
Because courage attracts people. Like when I tell that story, or when somebody else tells a story that they did and they were scared when they were doing it, like people lean in. That's just part of our DNA.
Yeah.
Man,
that's great. We're on with Trey Tucker. His book is Tough Enough. Pick it up. Men. Be the men that God called you to be. Ladies, if you hung in there this long with us, thank you, first of all, and hope you forward this to, guys in your life that need to step up and be men, or you think they're doing a great job,
encourage them.
They're like, wait a minute. So like guys in your life that you're like, man, I feel like you do this well. I hope you forward this podcast to them. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I believe in you guys. Like, do it.
I brought you a Diet Coke.
I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
Women are the weaker vessels, after all. Did you want to talk about that?
Wow.
You gonna put that in there now at the end?
Wow.
We need our men to step it up and protect us.
It's funny. It's like, oh wait, what did she say? And yet it's like in the black and white in the scripture. Crazy. Right.
This is helpful, I think. So thank you for being here.
And thanks for jumping on with us.
Thank y'all. It's been a blast.
Yeah. Hey guys, hope it's helpful. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Becoming Something, where we promise to keep the conversation honest and real for young adults in their 20s and 30s. Every moment we live is training for a future moment, and that's why we do this podcast, because we want you to be prepared for everything that life is going to throw at you. Our hope with this podcast is that it would help you become all that God desires you to be. To find out more, visit becomingsomething.com.